You too. What's good? It's your boy, Everything Water and Water's Everything. I got for you guys a crazy Strand Hunter build. Now, if you want to suspend enemies as much as possible and sever them with your melee, this is the build for you. If you guys like this type of video, man, please leave a like and subscribe. My apologies, man. I feel a little under the weather. I'm a little, sick, man. Let's hope it's not too crazy, but let's get ready for this video. Now, starting off this build, we got the 6 Coyote exotic chest. Now, this is as simple as it gets. It gives you an extra dodge. And with other subclasses, it doesn't really make it too much. Maybe it's better for stuff more like maybe stasis, but with Strand, this becomes so much better because now you'll be able to use your air dive to suspend enemies. That's really what this is really for. You want to be able, this build is based off suspending and severing enemies as much as possible. With a 6 Coyote, you give you an extra dodge or extra air dive with the aspects that you use for with the STRAND aspects that you use for Strand. It gives you an extra dodge that you can jump in the air and slam and suspend enemies. And this, being able to suspend enemies in this game is probably one of the best AoE control in the game. Being able to suspend them from that time, it can take out piercing rounds, champions, unstoppable, all that. They're useless when it becomes suspend. Overlord, yeah, but honestly, you can take out Overlord with a lot of other things. But yeah, if you don't have this exotic for Strand, use it. It's really, really good, especially with this 2 shackles grenades you get. So you're gonna be able to have 4 different ways to suspend enemies, and you can suspend like about, let's say, 4 or 5 enemies at a time. So, which is pretty cool. So that's about like 20 enemies with the 4s you have, which is really good. So yeah, now let's get into our exotic weapon. Now, coming in for our exotic weapon, we have the Monte Carlo. Now, this weapon just got a catalyst, so got a pretty good buff, and all it does is what we all wanted. It made the little knife thing on the weapon a melee that does incredible damage. So after you stack up the 5 stacks you get after killing a lot of enemies, you get like 5 stacks that allows you to use this long blade melee. It does a lot of damage, but in this build, we're not really going into for that. We're just going to be using more of the fact of how the Monte Carlo reloads your melee. That's the best part of this exotic, and with the catalyst, it just busts out a little bit more. So yeah, all this weapon does, it gives you your melee really, really fast. And the thing about the melee for Strand, it reduces the enemy's damage, which severs them, and also has a chance to drop tangles. Now, if you want to, use this for other Strand builds, it's still really good too. But this is really good. You want to be able to reduce as much damage the enemy can put out as much as possible. And when you're using this is good for any content. The Monte Carlo is not that good when it comes to shield combatants. It's not all that good. But red bars, all that, it takes them down. You get, even just by doing damage with the Monte Carlo, it will reduces the cooldown of your melee. But again, like I said, this is more used if you want to go into 1770, 1800 content. Use this. You can use this in any Nightfall, whatever, if you want to. It's just not going to be as effective. Obviously, it's not one of those weapons that it's a primary exotic, so it's not really anything crazy about it. But being able to reduce your cooldown by every like hit with your Monte Carlo, which is really cool. And if you get a kill with the melee version of the Monte Carlo where you have the 5 stacks, I believe it gives you your melee back instantly. So that's pretty cool. So y'all look out for that. Now let's get into the aspects and the fragments of this build. Starting off, we're going to be using Silk Strike. Obviously, that's the only super we have. For an abilities, you're going to be using Gambler's Dodge. You want to be able to reload your melee. But with this build, we're not really going to be reloading your melee because of the Monte Carlo. For our grenade, we're going to be using Shackle Grenade. Again, you want to have as much enemies as suspended. So you're going to have 2 Shackle Grenades at the same time, having 2 of your ability dodge, so you can air dive and create a lot of suspense. Now, going into our aspects, we're going to use the Ensnaring Slam. This right here is going to be another your bread brothers, another way to suspend targets. You're going to have 2 of these because of the 6 Coyote, plus the shackles, plus the Monte Carlo. Going to be reloading your melee. You're going to be doing crazy damage. It's going to be a lot of suspending, a lot of severing. So it's going to be cool. And also we're going to be using Widow Silk because this gives us an additional grenade charge, which we want. So that's pretty neat. Now going into our fragments, we have Threat of Generations. Dealing damage generates grenade energy. That's going to be good because we want to be able to generate as much grenade energy, or get as much grenade energy to max out our shackle grenades as much as possible. Right here's an important too, because picking up a overpower grants you Dwarven Mail. We're gonna be getting a lot of we have kinetics mods on, so it's gonna be giving the Monte Carlo some buffs into giving us overpower. Also with our next fragment, we have the Thread of Wisdom. Defeating suspended targets grants an overpower. This is going to be pretty cool too, because now you're going to be suspending a lot of enemies, you're going to be killing them, and then boom, you're going to be getting orbs of power, which is pretty cool and neat. And then last but not least, we got Thread of Continuity. Suspend, unravel, and sever effects applied to targets have increased duration. This is really good to use. Again, it just buffs up all of our suspend to have more duration, which is pretty cool. And yeah, that's it for our abilities, aspects, and fragments. Now I'm going to give you guys my stats and my mods. Okay, for my stats, as you guys can see, I'm going resilience again. Don't worry about my armor piece. It can be a lot better. If I was you guys trying to max out mobility and resilience as much as possible, that's going to be pretty neat. If I was any of you guys, these two are more important because you want to get as much as your dodge as much as possible, so you need high mobility. But then again, not even having max mobility is still good because you're going to be having all your mods is going to be lowering that chance of getting of your cooldown, so that's pretty cool. Now going into our mods, you guys can see, you guys can just screenshot this if you want. You want to go a lot of focus strikes because you're going to be using a lot of your melee. I got hands on too, and I also got kinetic siphons. I have in emergency reinforcements. That's really good. When you have armor charge, you have reduced shields, you get temporary damage reduction, which is pretty cool. And mostly it's just healing, just to heal you when you grant overpower. If you want to, you can go for more cooldown. Right here I have Reaper. After using your class ability, your next weapon final blow spawns overpower. I have Bomber. You can honestly take this out putting another mod, and I'm also using Powerful Attraction, which is pretty cool. But yeah, you guys can change this up if you want to, screenshot this. But yeah, that's it for this build, man. If you got like this video, man, please leave a like and subscribe. Your boy Everything Water, and Water is everything, my familia. And I'm out.